Hi guys, this is Elisa with Fusion DIY. Welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I am excited to bring you a recap of my time away at the Vintage Soul Creative Retreat that was hosted by Sonnet from Sonnet's Garden Blooms, and it was out in Appleton, Wisconsin. And I'm going to show you videos of the retreat and the area, and it was just a beautiful time, and I hope that you enjoy the video, and I'll see you at the end. So on Wednesday night, when many of us arrived, some of the gals got together and rented a bed and breakfast for the entire weekend. And so there was a meet and greet party at the bed and breakfast, and it was wonderful to get to know some of these people and meet them for the first time. We see each other a lot on our weekly Zoom calls, but how wonderful was it to get to meet these people who I now consider a lot of my friends. And this is Heather from Create Your Own Cozy, and Leanne and Jane Belante there. And here's some photos from that night. Connie Hemmer and Karen and a bunch of us. And it was just a wonderful night of getting to meet people and getting to know folks a little bit better. What a wonderful time it was. On Thursday morning, before the retreat began, a bunch of us went to the Goodwill outlet in Appleton, and oh my gosh, I had to buy an extra backpack just to be able to carry home some of the wonderful things that I found. It was really a fun trip. Can you see pumpkins? I can. So the retreat began at 1 o'clock in the afternoon on Thursday, and there was also a vintage shop hop going on, and this was the grounds where our retreat was held. So we had the opportunity to do some shopping before we actually started the sessions, and this barn was absolutely breathtaking. Also on the property is a caboose. And I'm going to show you a video of just the beautiful grounds where we got to spend the next several days each day. We also met the resident pet, Sugar, a beautiful golden retriever. And here's just some of the beautiful scenery that we saw around the whole facility. Check out this waterfall off the back of this truck. Isn't that amazing? And the chandelier inside the building was breathtaking. And this is the bathroom, believe it or not. It's just as beautiful as the rest of the place. And then I also took video of the vendors' booths. These vendors are so talented, and the reason that I took these videos is because I wanted to go back and study how they actually set up their vignettes and how they stage their booth. This is something that I often struggle with, and so it was really important for me to be able to see what they did and how they did it to give it a very cohesive look. There was also many displays set up outside as well. The barn has a deck that goes around it on the outside, so this is the deck area. And then down below the deck, there was also a lawn where there were many items set up as well. But everything was so cleverly placed, and it was the setups were just beautiful. So when we finally got together, we met Debbie Frimmer, who taught us how to blend paint. And this is something that a lot of people were interested in, and she showed us how to take a couple of different colors and by using paint and water, how to blend the lines so that you get a very cohesive look, but there's definitely a blend. We also enjoyed having Lynn from L&J Goods and her daughter Megan and Jane Belante as well. We had someone from the audience that volunteered to try to blend paint, and we just laughed. We had fun, and she was a very good sport, and we really enjoyed watching what she did. Then we had the opportunity to practice on some old scratched 78 records, and we put them in the sunshine so that they would dry quickly. Next up was Connie Hemmer from The Painted Photographer, and Connie was teaching us how to paint, and she taught us that sketching out your project is nothing more than a series of shapes, and that's how she likes to teach, in shapes. So she wanted us to learn how to paint a church, and so she gave us samples to use, and she guided us through using her palette as we all sketched out a church. Once the church was painted and the background was painted, then Connie went on and she taught us how to shade our photograph to give it a little bit more dimension, depending upon what direction we wanted the sun to be coming from.
So let me just go in with, I'm going to use Farm Fresh right here, and then I'm going to use some Queen Bee, and I'm going to blend that green. All right, you're rolling.
And here are some of the participants' projects. I think they turned out beautiful. So once our records were dry, we brought them back inside where we had the opportunity to work with Jane Belante. Jane is a life coach and a motivational speaker, and she told us that we could change our story, and the old scratched records became beautiful new artwork at her encouragement and her leading.
Participate in many creative collaborations throughout the year, and I also love to do retreats. So what we're going to do today is we are going to do a shortened version of one of my 3-day classes called Create Your Story. And if you heard me on Sonic's podcast, we talked a little bit about it, so if you heard that, you might have a little bit of an inkling of what we're going to do.
And here was my finished project. Only fake flowers are flawless, and this chapter feels really good. What a fun project this turned out to be for me. Next up was Heather from Create Your Own Cozy, and this was totally spontaneous.
My kids make fun of me. Hi guys. My name is Heather, and this is Create Your Own Cozy.
She was very overwhelmed that people knew her program, and we were so thrilled for her. Heather encouraged us to think outside the box and not allow ourselves to remain in the same place. She encouraged us to continue to grow and to move forward in our businesses and in our lives and not to get stuck in the same place. And I think that this was just a wonderful, overarching message for the entire weekend, and she brought it very, very nicely.
I love this, and there's something like, am I getting too, I don't know. But there's stuff about who I was before, and being able to kind of recreate that, or reinvent myself, or just, I don't know why, this part of it is I'm not trapped in a cage.
The next day, we had the benefit of working on a project with Lynn from L&J Goods and her daughter Megan, and they were both a joy to spend time with. Both very knowledgeable ladies and very creative, and they really taught us a lot.
You know what, I've never made this thing before either. But anyway, this is what you're going to be. You know what, you can all take pictures like this if you want to wait later. But this project was actually inspired by a fellow creative from 34 Decor, and I forget her first name. Barb. And I reached out to Barb because I was so impressed with how she put this together, and she gave me permission to do something similar. So, you know, this doesn't look exactly like hers, but I just wanted to give a shout out to her and let her know that we love this. And so, anyway, it's going to give us an opportunity to use maybe some things that you haven't used before. And I think the first thing is going to be...
So we had the opportunity to use some gold transfers, and they were fun. And then next up was Kristen Reed. Kristen has so much energy, and she is so positive. She is definitely a light, and she's also a former, I believe, high school teacher. And so she definitely knew how to wrangle in this crowd and keep our attention.
You're going to have 2 minutes. So you got to make quick decisions. You got to do thin layers. And then I'm going to attempt to clap to get your attention. If not, Heather's my backup, and she's going to do the lights. Because I really want this to be special, and I know that we've had to use the hair dryer. My goal is not to, because I want to tell you my story so that when you look at that book, you can say, what's my story? I want this to radiate in you. I want you to know that you can rewrite your story, that it can be a second story. So with that said, we got to get going.
And here is the project that we created. And once we had a break, we had another opportunity to do some more shopping. And here are just some of the projects, some of the items that were for sale. You can see that the wind was starting to pick up, and this was Saturday morning or Saturday midday. The wind really started to pick up, and it started to become a little bit chilly, but otherwise the weather was beautiful, cool in the mornings and the evenings, and warm during the day. How you doing?
And the final speaker was Royce Bell Hunt from Royce Cycled Treasures. And I will tell you that Royce was one of the most friendly and down-to-earth and lovable people that you ever want to meet. She was so kind, and it just so happens that one of our members of our creative network group had a birthday, and so Royce was gracious enough to stop what she was doing so that we could sing happy birthday to Amanda.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Amanda. Happy birthday to you.
I kissed you, but.
Happy birthday, Amanda. How young are you today? How young are you today?
So, of course, with Royce, we were doing a decoupage project, and this was something that she walked us through. It was using some of her most recent decoupage paper, and the projects that she had us create were really very interesting, and it was a fun project.
Being paralyzed and not doing anything, I'm making steps forward. And the more successful I am, the more confidence I get, and then it's easier to move forward. So I just want to talk about half the stuff. So asking ourselves the quality questions, not the BS questions, right? And we just spiral and make it worse. But the questions that actually move us forward.
This was my project that I created with Royce. I used stencils, and I cut out some of the stencils and decoupaged them onto the board. This stencil here is a stencil that I stamped around the butterflies, and then this one I cut out from another piece of decoupage paper, as well as that one. And the word apothecary was a stencil that I used on the decoupage paper. I have to say that I met some wonderful friends, and on Saturday night we had a going away party. Then on Sunday, before I flew out, I stopped at Ye Olde Goat, where Sonnet has her booth, and again I just found tons and tons of booths that were staged so beautifully and had such wonderful merchandise. And I wish that I could have taken home a lot more, but because I was flying, I didn't want to have to ship things. But you can see from some of the displays here just how wonderful people are with setting up their booths. And this is something I am going to be studying and learning a lot about over the next couple of weeks. I did get a chuckle with this painting. It says Bucks County, and that's not too far from where I live. I thought that was funny. And this chest is beautiful, isn't it? So Sunday afternoon, I boarded the plane and I headed back home to New Jersey, and I just loved my trip.
So what did you think of the video? I will tell you that I had a wonderful time. I met some amazing people and just a beautiful place to have a retreat. It was just a really great time of sharing and meeting people and shopping. I have to admit that too. I did a lot of that. But overall, it was a fun weekend. And I hope that you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up, hit the subscribe button and the notification bell so that every time I release another video, you'll be notified. I want to thank you again for joining me today and have an awesome week, and I'll see you soon. Bye.